Oh my God.
What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Ask Why. And this episode is called Ask Why Has Yinka Been MIA? I know it's been a really, really long time since the last time that I did my vlog. I've had a lot of changes happen within my life, and I feel like, this isn't the first time. I'm the type of person, unfortunately, where I get into my craft and then things start to happen in my personal life, and unfortunately it takes me away from my craft for a little bit. And with this particular Ask Why episode, it took me a while to decide whether or not I wanted to. I just thought, okay, why don't you just hop back into it and kind of just edit the videos of your travels that you've been doing and kind of just put that out there and not really give people an explanation. And for the longest time, I've just kind of thought, like, I don't owe anyone an explanation, and I'm not going to give anyone an explanation. And that's not fair. That's not fair to the people that watch my channel. That's not fair to the people that contact me on social media. That's not fair to the people that have supported me from the very, very beginning of my career. And I just don't think it's fair for me to just continue to put you guys in the dark, or kind of just like not really clue you guys in as to what is going on with me. Now, I'm not doing this because I think I owe anyone an explanation. I'm doing this because it's more for me than it is for you guys, in the sense that it's therapeutic. It is cathartic for me to kind of say the things that I'm feeling in my head and in my heart. And if anybody takes anything away from this, then that's great. And if they don't, that's fine. Or if they just want to, listen to the gist of what's been going on, that's okay as well. So bear with me while I kind of do this. This was not a planned recording. This is not a planned taping. As you can see, I kind of just set up my equipment anyhow and kind of just said, let me get it out while it's still fresh in my mind and fresh in my heart. So bear with me. I don't know how long or how short this thing is going to be. So here we go. So, ask why Yinka has been MIA. And not just MIA from my vlog, but MIA from social media, and MIA from what a lot of you guys have known me for doing. So for the past 2.5 years, I have been that, MTV based chick. I have been your crazy cool chick, Cola, reporting from this place, interviewing this people, traveling to this people, and to these places, and it just got to a point where I had to ask myself, what do you want from life? How do you see your life panning out? What does living your best life truly mean to you? And I understand this, that from the outside looking in, it looked like I was living the dream and I was doing what I wanted to do. And to a certain extent I was, but I wasn't doing it on my own terms. And I think I've alluded to this a lot of times if you watch my Insta stories, I have talked about living your life, but living it on your own terms. And I wasn't doing that. And if anything, I've always kind of prided myself in being authentic to who I am and being real with you guys, but most importantly, real with myself and real about my situation. Because a lot of us, we're not real with ourselves. I think it's one thing if you want to fake and lie to everybody else around you, but you really have to be real to yourself. And that's scary. And sometimes you don't like what you hear. You don't like what you see when you're real to yourself. So, I think it started happening in 2017. I really started to have serious conversations with myself. Yo, your career in Nigeria, it's going great. It's going really, really well. You're picking up more shows. You're picking more opportunities. More people are seeing you. You're expanding. There was a time where I was juggling 3 different stations and had a radio opportunity, so many things. And at the height of it all, I had to ask myself, okay, do you want to continue to do this, and to what end? And that question was what really scared me. To what end? Was Nigeria where you wanted to build your life? Was Nigeria where you wanted to build your family, as in the base, as in the core of it? Was Nigeria where you wanted to build your friendships? Was Nigeria where you saw yourself kind of going and growing? And And although everything just seemed like, oh yeah, of course it's Nigeria, because if it wasn't Nigeria, why would God be giving me this? If it wasn't Nigeria, why would this opportunity be there? If it wasn't Nigeria, there were so many great things that were happening that if you're looking at it from sense, right, using your head, it made sense. But if you were looking at it from purpose, using your heart, it didn't make sense. MTV Africa was such a huge platform, was such a great platform. I kind of, fell into the VJ search thing, and I'll talk about that another day. But then it ended up working out for me, and I ended up winning and then falling into the MTV based family, which I was so happy and honored, and until this day, so grateful that I was able to be a part of. But then, what about my family, and what does family mean to me? And at the same time, I was juggling a long distance relationship. At that point, we had been together for if this is 2017, we had been together for about 3 years. And, it's cute to have a long distance girlfriend, but you're not going to have a long distance wife. So why keep building and building and building in this place where I felt like at the end of the day, I wasn't going to be able to reap the fruit and the benefit of. And at the end of the day, I felt like there was a cap. I felt like although I was growing, there was a cap to my growth. What does success look like for me? And how success looks like for other people is not how it looks like for me. And this is not to knock what Nigeria has to offer in terms of success to other people, because Nigeria has lots of great things to offer. Africa has lots of great things to offer in terms of success. But how did that look like for me? Did that make sense for me? Was that what I wanted? And I got to the point where I had to be honest with myself. It wasn't. And not only honest with myself that it wasn't, but honest to the point where it didn't matter if everybody else thought it was. Right? Let me repeat this to myself. Let me repeat this again. It wasn't success to me, even if it looked like it was success to other people. I had to be so honest with myself that I had to tell myself, you know what? It doesn't matter what other people think. Some people may think that this is the dumbest advice, the dumbest thing you could have ever gotten. And one of the best advice that I got, it actually came from somebody who was high up, who was my boss at MTV Africa. And I was having a conversation with the person, and the person said, to be honest, I don't want to see you go. I don't want you to leave us, because I see the growth. We're having these 5-year plans that we're trying to plan around you, for you to be the face, for you to be the core. We're trying to take, MTV Africa to these greater and newer heights. However, the truth of the situation is that nothing grows in the comfort zone. Nothing grows. If you are in your comfort zone, you're not going to grow. And although the situations, the scale of where you are might be getting bigger, but you're still kind of on the same scale. You're still on the same field. And the person told me, look, from a business perspective, I'm sitting here telling you that I don't want to see you go, but off the record, you gotta go, you gotta blossom, you gotta grow. And if this isn't where you feel like you can do that, and to be honest, there is a cap. There's only so much we can offer you. We can't offer, and trust me, when I talk about offer, it's not even in terms of money. It's in terms of opportunities, is in terms of doing the type of content that I want to do, becoming the type of journalist that I wanted to become, touching and interviewing on the type of stories that I wanted to touch and that I wanted to interview on. So that just wasn't there for me. And that was the moment that I knew I had to leave. Okay, so that was a tough decision. Knowing that you have to leave and then actually leaving and not knowing what you're leaving to is very, very tough. And that's kind of what I want to spend the bulk of this video kind of talking about. A lot of people advise me on not doing this. A lot of people advise me, it's like, you're an entertainer and you're supposed to entertain and your life is supposed to look like it is the most entertaining thing. But I've never wanted to be an entertainer. That's never what I wanted to be. I never wanted to be, I never wanted to create a situation where people felt like they had to kind of tune in order to fulfill or live vicariously through. I never wanted to be that. And I never wanted, and unfortunately, the entertainment industry, but specifically the entertainment industry in Nigeria, the main philosophy is just fake it till you make it and make yourself look like you're having the greatest time at the party, but honestly, you're the most miserable one there. But you can't tell anyone. You have to kind of just act like you're having fun. And a lot of people are not having fun, but they were okay with that. But I never got to that point. I never came to the point where I was okay with my misery. I never got to the point where I was okay faking a smile. I just didn't know how to do it. Even naturally, ever since I was younger, my emotions were always written on my face. So I just wasn't okay with that. And at this point in my life, I'm not going to be okay with that. I'm not going to revert back to something and not be authentic to myself and not be authentic to the people that I care the most about. So in the spirit of just being truthful and to being honest and just clearing the slate, I do want to put some facts down. Number one fact, I no longer work for MTV Base. That is a fact. Number two, the second fact is I left of my own volition, right? That is the second fact. I left on my own volition. And fact number three is that I am undisputedly lost and under construction. That is the huge fact that I am being honest with myself, reflecting on it with myself, and being honest with you guys. When I left MTV, I had no idea where I was going, and I was excited about that. All I knew and know now is the type of content that I want to produce. It's the type of stories that I want to tell. It's just kind of me being myself and not having to live by rules and regulations. I didn't want to be that teeny bopper, sex symbol, turn on MTV. Oh my gosh, she's the type of girl I want to be. She's the type of girl I want to do, whatever it is. All I know is that I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be somebody that was the perfect blend in my head of Oprah Winfrey, Dr. Phil, and Wendy Williams. I wanted to talk about pop culture. I wanted to talk about things that were entertaining, but I also wanted to report real stories that affect people's lives, and I wanted to have candid conversations. And I'm now realizing, or I guess I've always realized, but I have to vocalize it now. I cannot expect other people to have candid conversations without me having candid conversation with you guys and being completely open and honest. So what does it look like being under construction? It's scary. Duh, it's very scary. It's sad. It's depressing. It's nerve-wracking. It's exciting. And it's lonely. A lot of the times it's very, very lonely. It's being in a constant state of limbo where you're bending, but you're not breaking. You can't break. You keep telling yourself that you just have to keep pushing. It's hard because you see the wall and you keep pushing, but you don't know how to break through. And I think that how is so scary. Because when you know your purpose, right? You've lived your purpose. You want to now excel in your purpose, but you don't know how. And trusting the process and knowing that the how is not for you to know. The how is for God to know. Knowing that you want something as badly as like you want to breathe, like you're grasping for air, but you don't get that refreshing feeling of receiving air, but you feel like you're near just death and suffocation and emptiness. It's like you're just like empty and you keep praying for there to be water, but there's just no water. There's no cloud in sight. You don't know where it's coming from. And that's kind of what it feels like. But then you also get those glimpses of hope, you get like a little drizzle, a little speck, sometimes. And then I'm lucky because I get you guys. I get the people that DM me every day that are like, yo, I will actually be so honest with you as to why I really wanted to do this video. And let me pull up this DM. Got a DM today. And I feel like God is really trying to tell me something. Because the person I got the DM from, her name is Yinkus Mikus. Yinkus Mikus. And Yinkus is what my grandmother calls me all the time. Yinkus. And so basically, she said, miss you on Indani. Being a TV girl looks good on you. And that, I told her, I said, thanks, hon. I've got some projects. It's coming soon. And even at the time when I replied to her, I didn't feel so strongly about those projects. Even, let me tell you guys, let me be all the way 100 with you. Even when I responded to her and I said, quote, thanks, hon. Soon to come, I have some other projects I'm working on. Thanks for your support. Whole time, girl had 0 projects. Okay, this was earlier today. Whole time, I didn't even know I was going to do this video, but I was still, unfortunately, living in that fake it till you make it mentality. And then she responded, she said, all the best, mama. God will continue to bless the works of your hands. And I was honest with her. I said, amen. I really needed that, and same to you. And that was no shade, no cap, no clout, no nothing. That message just refueled me. It just reignited. So I get days like this. And then, I went to work, and on my way back from work, I had this wave of sadness because it's like a reminder. Oh my gosh, you're not where you want to be. You're not working in your purpose, blah, 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 blah. And I just had this overwhelming wave of sadness. And I had to work through that. I had to call, Jedi the comedian. I had to call so many people to kind of like refuel me. And that was kind of like the loneliness aspect, because when I first moved here, I grew up here, I had my friends, but they don't really understand. So slowly but surely, I am creating a tribe of people that are in the industry that do understand. And I had to call that person, and I had to call another new acquaintance, Chris Rodriguez, to kind of tell me like, yo, you are bugging, because you don't realize how gifted you are. You don't realize how much you have to offer, and you really do have to push past, because when you're in a transition area where you can see the end, but you don't know how to get to that end, it is so frustrating. Sometimes, and I was telling Jedi today, I said, sometimes I just hate myself. And it's not rational, right? Because if I'm rationally thinking about all the things that are happening in my life, I just got engaged to the man of my dreams. Like, that is huge. But when you're in that transition phase or in that construction phase, unfortunately, what you're doing, or what you do, is that you just focus on the things that you don't have. You focus on the lack, and you focus on explaining yourself to people. And today I was like, you know what, Inga, you're going to do this video, and you're not going to do this video because you feel like you have to explain yourself to people. You're going to do this video because you're going to tell your people, I don't owe you a damn thing. I don't need to explain myself to you. And I don't need your pity. To be quite honest, I don't need your understanding, because your understanding, your pity ain't going to buy me. Your pity ain't going to pay my bills. Your remorse or your opinions, it doesn't do anything for me. But I needed to do this, like I said, for me to be therapeutic, to be like, this is your situation now. This is where you are now. And the content that I'm going to produce from this is going to reflect that. I don't want to spend too much time. I've already spent, I don't even know how long this video is at this point, so I don't want to keep spending time on it. But I'm letting you guys know that I am undisputedly lost and in construction. Being under construction is scary. Not knowing, it's very scary. It's a roller coaster. It is. And it's a marathon. It's not a race. I really hope I make it to the finish line, instead of me just like making camp on the side and watching everybody else run the race. And That's really what I've been trying to tell myself. Like, no matter what, you have to keep pushing and you have to make it to the finish line. And setting up camp and watching other people run the race is not an option. I'm not going to be a bystander in my own life. I'm just not going to do it. Is it going to be hard to keep pushing? Yes. Do I get tired? Do my legs get tired? Do I get defeated? Do I get angry? Do I get frustrated? I do. But instead of fighting it back with anger and depression, I've decided that I'm going to fight it back with content. I'm going to fight it back with authenticity. I'm going to fight it back with growth. And at the end of the day, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. I made this decision. I know that this road is not easy. It is not a road often traveled. Nobody leaves what seems like success to go into uncertainty. But that's when really beautiful, incredible things are made, and not just made, but discovered. During this time, I've discovered a lot of things about myself. A lot of them have been great, and some of them have been really, really uncomfortable. Some of the things that I've discovered about myself is it's really embarrassing, but I'm keeping it straight. Some of the things I've discovered about myself is that in the grand scheme of things, I'm really lazy. You know, I've been the type of person where I've kind of just prayed things into existence. I've kind of just always believed things into existence. And trust me, I'm not doubting my faith, or I'm not knocking faith, right? But you got to put some work behind it. And I've never had to really, that's not fair. I've always worked hard, but I now realize that in the level of the game that I'm now in, I have to work 1,000 times harder. I've learned about myself that sometimes I gravitate towards excuses instead of gravitating towards results. I would rather list 1,000 reasons why things aren't working or why I can't do things than for me to list 1,000 reasons of how I can get results, how I can overcome those things. So I needed that mental shift. I've also come to the realization that I'm a badass bitch. And I need to believe in that. Like, I used to preach earlier on in my career, like, believe in your dopeness, believe in your dopeness. And I had to tell myself, like, yo, somewhere along the line, you stop believing in your dopeness. Like, you legit stop believing in how dope you truly are. And you making all these other people's fake, cropped, filtered life diminish the quality of your genuine, no matter how grimy, no matter how crooked, no matter how imperfect, but beautiful your life actually is. You know, I never been one to crop, filter, suck, pluck, or try to do anything that wasn't me. So why am I gonna give up on the skills, on the sets that God has put in me to flourish? Why am I gonna push that aside or brush that aside because so-and-so posted a picture on Instagram trying to flex on a life that's not really theirs? And I just have to tell myself, like, yo, you really not hungry enough. I was watching a Mike Tyson interview the other day. Mike Tyson, for some of you guys that don't know, he's a heavyweight boxer. He's a, champion. Like, he's accomplished so many things, but he's also had a lot of trials and tribulations that he's getting through. And in one of the interviews, he said one of the things that he learned from his very first coach, who unfortunately passed away, was the value of just perseverance. Because sometimes there is relief in giving up. Like, yo, I'm going to say that again. Sometimes there is relief in giving up. There's a relief, there's an exhale that comes from no longer having to push that rock. There's an exhale that comes from no longer having to push that barrier. Sometimes it's just easier to let everything crush you and to just be deflated than the strength it takes to keep the opposition away, than the strength that it takes to keep the negativity away, than the strength that it takes to keep your eyes on the prize. There is that relief. But I have to tell myself, no, girl, you don't get that relief. You don't get that breather. You got to keep pushing, because what looks like relief, that's you giving up on yourself. So I really kind of had to toughen up. And I really had to be like, yo, Yinka, was good? For real. Like, Yinka, what's good? Are you gonna get to where you need to get to? Are you gonna accomplish the things that you need to accomplish? Or are you gonna have the relief of failure and be like, oh, it's because of X, Y, and Z, because you were gravitating towards excuses instead of gravitating towards results? So those are the type of conversations that I had to have with myself, and I still have them with myself. There's sometimes I'm on an ultimate high and I'm like, yo, Yinka, you're doing this, you're on ABL Live, you got this awesome radio show that you're doing with these awesome guys, and you're doing great things, blah, blah, blah. Girl, you finna get married, you about to be a whole ass wife. Like, oh, there's so many things. But I have to keep pushing back. And I want to leave on this note that while you're under construction, and although construction looks terrifying, construction looks uncertain, construction looks like depression, construction looks like you about to lose your mind, I also want to tell you guys what construction looks like for me. Construction looks like discovery. Construction looks like putting all the bet and all the chips on me. Construction looks like ownership. Construction looks like accountability. Construction looks like you're building character. Construction in my life looks like I'm traveling. And I'm traveling off of my own volition. I'm traveling off of my own coins. So nobody can ever tell me that, girl, you ain't never been nowhere that I ain't never paid for. Nobody's ever been able to say that. But construction looks like I'm rebuilding my friendships. Construction looks like I'm getting back in touch with my family. Construction looks like I'm building and thriving with my friends. Construction looks like sisterhood. And I can't believe I'm about to say this because I've been keeping it for so long, but construction looks like being a homeowner. Bay and I, we bought a house last year. We bought our house in December of 2018. Buying a house with the man of, I can't even say buy, the man of my dreams, saying, girl, pick your dream house and I'm going to pay for it. And best believe I picked my dream house, and to see construction, believing in vision and seeing prophecy and allowing yourself the time and allowing and believing in the process for it to actually come into fruition. That last part is so hard because you see the legacy, you know the prophecy, you breathe it, you live it every single day, but trusting in that process. And I know a whole bunch of these wannabe Instagram gurus, Instagram little life coaches, they say it, but there really is a process, and believing in that process and watching it kind of pan out and knowing that at the end of the day, God's got you. And as long as you keep pushing, you'll see results. Like, for instance, there's no way that you can do 100 push-ups every single day and you're not going to see some type of result. Unless you're eating junk food and you're doing all the things you're not supposed to be doing. So my 100 push-ups every single day looks like I'm knocking doors, making phone calls, doing emails, building, creating content, being in the know with you guys. But if I start to eat my junk food, which is believing in depression, believing in the voice of the enemy, believing in the devices of people that are not for me but want to be me. Let me repeat that again. Believing in the devices of people that are not for me but want to be me. That's what my junk food looks like. That's when I start to fail. And I refuse to do that. So I can say with a big smile on my face, I am undisputedly lost and under construction. Thanks guys for watching. If you want, go ahead and subscribe. I've got some really great content and things that I'm actually like super happy and super dope and super proud of. One of the things that I loved or that I love doing is telling stories. So I will be doing a lot of interviews and I will just be opening myself up to questions. I want to be candid with you guys. I'm not about that, celebrity tip. I'm not doing that. They ain't never got nobody nowhere. I'm about living my best authentic life and telling stories and being part of stories of people that want to be creative with me. It's just going to be a journey of creativity. We're going to have some hits, we're going to have some misses, but it is what it is. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you next time on Ask Why.
Oh my God.